Hello, Mr.Gobbo here. Welcome to my second battle report. This time I will recount a 2500 point game against Pinktaco and the Saurian Ancients. His full army list will be displayed on the screen, and you can pause the video at any time if you somehow don't read at lightning speed. The same thing applies to my cave goblin list. The scenario was a battle line, and we were very naughty and didn't pick a secondary objective, even though we should have done that. The Saurian Ancients, they get the first turn. Some people have asked for more opinions and less boring details. In this battle report, I will try to do just that. First, I'd like to talk about my two goblin spellcasters, both cave goblins. The first one is level 3, and I gave him the Tome of Arcane Lore, which means he gets to pick 4 spells instead of 3. He has the Path of Shadows. He got the signature spell, of course, Shadow Miasma, which is really good. He got the Turn to Smoke, and Devouring Darkness and Mind Razor. My second spellcaster, the Cave Goblin level 2, he chose the Path of the Little Green Gods. He got the signature spell Evil Eye, which is perfect for dealing with chaff units, such as Skyriders and Skink Hunters. And then number 6, Curse of the Green Moon, which is situational, but I might as well have it, because I've never used it before. And before you ask, no, I don't live in Australia. Those are just my budgerigars. Very happy budgerigars that you can hear in the background. But I just cast spell number 5. Shh, stay quiet on them. So now the pretty bats asleep forever. Or until tomorrow, that is. Before we start the game, a few words about deployment. My opponent, he decided to deploy first, deploying his 2 units of Skink Hunters at the very beginning, and then giving me the edge in choosing most of the matchups. As you can see, we both chose a more or less symmetrical deployment, where there were no big weaknesses on either flank. He has 2 big monsters, he has 2 units of hunters and 2 units of Skyriders, and then 2 big combat blocks. Please note that because of the Hat of the 9 Caves on my general, I had a 40 Gobbo strong cave goblin unit with short bows and full command in ambushing mode. This was a test to see if I could make my army any more tricksy than it already was. But back to the battle plan. What plan? Well, number 1, cheap, unreliable Gobbo chaff countering Saurian chaff. Number 2, shooty gits killing the monsters. 3, ambush. 4, maybe magic, who knows. 5, profit and victory. Let's get started. Saurian Ancients turn 1. During the movement phase, he moved up, eager to kill the Gobbos. Not much to say about that. The big frog in the magic phase, he cast a couple of damage spells through one of his skink ritual priests. He manages to give the Cave Gobbo bunker with my general, BSB and level 3 units, ballistic skill 1, and then proceeds to put 4 wounds in the scrap wagon, making the Goblin Wolf Chariot fail its leadership test, rerollable leadership 8 test, and flee, but not far enough to flee off the table. Not yet. He put some sort of hex on the Nasher Dashers on my left flank, making them treat all terrain as dangerous terrain, and whether fail in a 1 or 2. No shooting. No close combat. So, at the end of the first turn, it looks like this. And now, time for Orcs and Goblins, turn 1. I somehow forgot to take a picture of my own first movement phase. Maybe I got too excited. But I move up with my random movement units on the right flank, and then I move up with my Nasher Dashers on the left. I only fail 1 dangerous terrain test from the spell, so I got really lucky there. The Wolf Chariot, it rallies. The rest of my army, they remain in waiting position as I try to delay the inevitable clash between his strong units and my cheap rubbish. Please note that my level 2 Shaman is in the left Gobbo bunker, to the left of the Stone Trolls. I know they look like River Trolls, but I proxied them for this battle. In my magic phase, the Shaman, the level 2 Shaman, he casts the boosted Little Green God signature spell and puts 2 wounds on the Salamander on my left hand side. During the shooting phase, the Git Skewer, or the Chucker, hits the Salamander and puts 2 wounds on it. Yes, dead. The rock hurler, my stone thrower, gets a direct hit on the Spinosaurus. 4 wounds, almost dead, perfect, and no close combat. And that was the end of my turn 1. Saurian Ancients turn 2. The picture was taken at the end of his movement phase. Skyriders, they fly back and forth over the Nashadashers on my right flank. They're surely going to get a nice barrage of rocks to the face. The Skyriders on the left, they make a small mistake. They move in front of the T-Rex BSB, releasing the Madgid, who gets lucky, makes a perfect line through the Skyriders, and T-Rex giving 2 wounds to each unit. The Skyriders, they fail their rerollable Leadership 5 and flee, landing directly in front of the Nashadashers and Skinks, obscuring their line of sight. The rest of the army moves up. The Skink Priest puts 1 wound on the Cave Gobbo boss on a big Cave Nasher. He also kills a Stone Troll with some flaming magic thingy. During the shooting phase, the Nashadashers on the right flank, they get rocks in their poor heads. Everyone dies. The poison shooting Skinks put 1 wound on the Giant, and the poison shooting Skinks on the left flank, they kill the Madgid, of course, and no close combat. Orcs and Goblins turn 2. The left Wolf Chariot smells blood and charges the T-Rex and Saurian veteran BSB. The right Wolf Chariot charges the Skinks along with the Giant. The Skinks, they stand and shoot and put 1 wound on the Giant. Somehow the Giant fails to roll a 4 and fails to charge. The Wolf Chariot somehow makes it, even though it was a significantly longer charge. I forget to roll for my ambusher unit. Whoops. The Nasha Wrecking Team, it moves up and kills the Spinosaurus. Eaten dinosaur, yes, dead. The Cave Goblin boss moves up and into the right Skink unit. The Nashadashers on the left flank, they catch the Skyrider unit and kill them all. This makes the Skink unit and Skink Priest flee the side of the slaughter, and they run 10 inches. No notable magic. The Goblobber, it kills 1 Skyrider on the right flank, and the Rock Hurler, it gets 1 direct hit on the Masiosaurus, putting 4 wounds on it, killing it outright. Perfect shooting phase. During the close combat phase, the left Wolf Chariot manages to roll a 1 for impact hits, not putting a single wound on the T-Rex, and then it is eaten dead. The Chariot and Cave Gobbo boss, they kill the Skinks and overrun into the Shrine Guards. I hope to get lucky with impact hits and thin them out a little before being killed. Maybe lining up another charge with my Giant and Nasha herd in the future. But that's it. Saurian Ancients turn 3. He charges my left Cave Gobbo horde with both the T-Rex and Saurian Totem Warriors. I stand and shoot at the BSB T-Rex thing, but I don't do anything to it. It still only has got 2 wounds left. They both succeed in reaching my Gobbos. My opponent moves his T-Rex first. Fine, I think. Then he moves his Saurians. As they touch my Gobbo horde, they get within 8 inches of my right Gobbo horde. Trixie Madgid time! I move the Madgid through my Stone Trolls, inflicting 1 wound. Then I hit the Saurians, and then finally the T-Rex. I kill 1 Totem Warrior, but the Madgid also kills the T-Rex BSB! Hooray! Best 30 points ever spent. The Skinks on the far left managed to rally. I didn't take a picture of that. The Skyriders step on the Nasha Wrecking Team and sacrifice their lives for the security of the Shrine Guards. However, this makes the Skink Priest roll a 10 with his cold-blooded Leadership 9, so he naturally runs away. The remaining Salamander moves through the forest and gets dangerously close to my right Gobbo horde. In the magic phase, he gives a 5-up regen on the Temple Guards and makes my left Cave Gobbo horde weapon skill 1, initiative 1 and movement 1. During the shooting phase, the Salamander lines up the perfect shot on my right Cave Gobbo horde, killing 18 Cave Gobbos. In the close combat against the Shrine Guards, I get really lucky, rolling maximum impact hits for both the Chariot and the Giant Cave Nasher and the Place of Lork. I managed to kill 3 Shrine Guards, with all the attacks from my boss, with the Lance, Big Cave Nasher and the Wolf Chariot and crew. He kills my Cave Gobbo boss, but only puts a single wound on my Chariot, and it passes its Leadership 4 roll. Phew. The Totem Warriors destroy my Cave Goblins, losing 3 but killing 11 Gobbos and routing them. The Cave Gobbos manage to get away, however, and the Totem Warriors, they decide to reform instead of pursuing, facing the Stone Trolls. It's time for Orcs and Goblins turn 3. In the movement phase, I charge with the Stone Trolls, wanting to destroy the Totem Warriors, or at least hold them up, and preventing them from charging into the flank of my right Goblin Horde. The Giant makes his combo charge with the Gnasher Herd, and both roll high enough to complete the charge. I roll a 1 for my ambushing unit. Unlucky. The lone Madgit moves through the Totem Warriors again, killing 3. My Gnasher Dashers decide to get feisty, needing to roll a 16 on their 3d6 random movement in order to get a flank hit on the newly rallied skinks. I get lucky. My fleeing left Gobbo Horde fails to rally and flees off the table, taking my level 2 Shaman with it. Too bad. In the magic phase, I managed to get the Mind Razor off on the Gnasher Herd and reduce the Shrine Guard's weapon skill, initiative and movement to 1. In the shooting phase, the right Cave Gobbo Horde manages to shoot the Salamander, killing it outright. In the close combat phase, the Gnasher Dashers on the left flank win combat against the Skinks and Skink Ritual Priest and kill them as they flee. Nice! My supercharge fails miserably as my opponent somehow manages to save almost everything with the 5-up regen, and I end up losing with 2. The Wolf Chariot is killed and the Gnashers break, exploding and putting 2 wounds on my Giant, who is killed, not killing a single Shrine Guard. My Trolls, they give 6 wounds to the Totem Warriors, but also take 4 in return, thus losing combat because of the Musician. They managed not to flee, however, because of Mr.Gobbo's leadership bubble. Saurian Ancients turn 4. My opponent forgot that his Shrine Guard unit had movement 1, so he tried to charge my Gobbo Horde, but he failed the charge. He needed to roll a 12, but he rolled an 11. So close. Phew. During the magic phase, he gets some sort of hex off on the trolls, getting an irresistible in the process, but nothing bad happens during the miscast. He then buffs up the Totem Warriors. Oh, I forgot to say the Skink Priest rallies. No shooting, and in close combat he kills the 2 trolls, and the trolls break and flee, but they manage to get away. I didn't really regen or save any wounds. I was pretty unlucky. Orcs and Goblins turn 4. In the movement phase, the Gnasher Dashers move closer to his remaining units, the enemy's remaining units, trying to hunt some dinosaurs. The Trolls rally and turn to face the Totem Warriors, trying to delay the flank charge against the Gobbos by 1 turn. And I roll a 1 for my ambushers. At this point, I don't have that many units left, and things are looking rather bleak. I've gotten into stage 4 of my Great Master Plan, and I have no idea what to do. I'm just trying to delay his charges, maybe getting off a lucky spell, but he's been closing down almost all of my magic phases so far, and in his magic phases he's had twice as many dice as me, so things are not looking too good. In the magic phase, I got off the Shadow Miasma on the Shrine Guards. And in the shooting phase, my sneaky Arrogits, meaning my Goblin Horde, they killed 2 Shrine Guards with their shooting, and there was no close combat. Saurian Ancients turn 5. In the movement phase, the Totem Warriors charge the Trolls, obviously. The Shrine Guards finally get off the charge against the Gobbos, and the Skink Priest moves in closer to be able to finish off the Gnasher Dashers and Madgit with magic. In the magic phase, the Madgit is killed with magic. In the shooting phase, nothing happens because he has no shooting. In the close combat phase, 1 troll is killed, and the remaining troll breaks and flees off the table, and the Totem Warriors reform to get the perfect flank charge in turn 6, if my Gobbos somehow are still alive by then. The Gobbos are brave, but lose combat by 4. Somehow they managed to roll a 4 on their leadership test. Please notice how I still forgot about the 3d6 Horde leadership test for Unruly. Doh! Orcs and Goblins turn 5. In the movement phase, the Nasher Dashers get really lucky and roll high enough to hit the Skink Priest. He's most likely dead now. I roll a 1 for my ambushes, and it looks like they're just 3 points for my opponent. I have one more chance of rolling a 3 or more to get them in to battle. In the magic phase, I get off the miasma again, reducing weapon skill, movement, and initiative on the Shrine Guards. In the shooting phase, I fail to hit anything. And in close combat, my Nasher Dashers, they kill the Skink Priest, fail to restrain, and overrun way too far for my liking. I would have preferred if they didn't overrun, so I could maybe jump them into the rear end of the Shrine Guards in my next turn if my goblins were still alive. I actually think that Gobbo's won combat, and Mr.Gobbo manages to put a wound on the big frog. I'll take it. Saurian Ancients, turn 6. In the movement phase, charge! The Totem Warriors are looking to finish off the Gobbos once and for all. They probably are not going to survive this. In the magic phase, he buffs up the Shrine Guards, giving them +1 strength and +1 toughness. He has no shooting. In the close combat, Mr. Gobbo puts another wound on the big frog. I lose combat by 5, my leadership is down to 3, but I somehow managed to roll a double 1 with only 2 dice, because I forgot this 3d6 thing. Lork may still be with me, or Gork and Mork, or whatever they're called. Orcs and Goblins, turn 6. This is it, the final turn of the game. Will Mr. Gobbo survive despite impossible odds? Find out later. In my movement phase, my Nasher Dashers, they come to the rescue. They somehow manage to roll high enough to attack the frog and company in their buttholes. Just what I need. I roll a 1 for my ambushes. That's it. 3 points to my opponent. What a waste. In the magic phase, something disgusting happened. I'm not proud of it. I managed to roll a double 6, so I finally got 12 power dice. Finally, I get to dominate in this crucial magic phase. I declared that I wanted to cast Shadow Miasma on the Totem Warriors, but I rolled a 9 with 4 dice. The boosted version requires 10 to be successfully cast. I forgot to declare what I wanted to cast, that I wanted to cast the boosted version, but I told my opponent I honestly wanted to cast the boosted version. But technically the rulebook helps me out, stating that the unboosted version of a spell is assumed to be cast when the caster forgets to declare which version of a spell is cast. I should have said, well, too bad, my magic phase is over. But I asked my opponent if it was okay, we went with the rulebook in this instance. He agreed, but I still can't help feeling absolutely disgusted by myself. I won't do that again. I decided to roll a d6 to find out which attribute was affected, since I also forgot to declare that, and it ended up being initiative, which was reduced by 2. I also got off the -d3 strength on the Totem Warriors. No shooting, and in the close combat phase, Mr. Gobbo puts another wound on the frog, the BSB gets the last wound in, killing the fat bugger. The Nasher Dashers kill 2 of the remaining Shrine Guards. I end up winning combat. The Totem Warriors hold because they're steadfast. But now that the Shrine Guards lose their bodyguard special rules, they break and are run down by the Nasher Dashers. Woo! Victory by some 600 points to Mr. Gobbo's Trixie Gits. Way! In conclusion, thank you for watching this battle report, and I hope you enjoyed the game almost as much as I did. As you can see, my master plan worked to perfection, with point 4 being... I still don't know what happened. But I will be back in the future with more games now played under the new updated rules. And take care. Bye.